introduce our speaker tonight, we are really, really excited to have Jane with us today. Jane is a holistic nutritionist. She's traveled throughout the world. She's worked in many, many people. She's presented to Fortune 500 companies from groups of 30 to 5,000 people. She's been working with PSE for a very long time. She's very passionate about her work, and she believes that we can all reach our highest wisdom on learning the laws that shape our physical, emotions, and realities. Above all, Jane preaches the power of a positive attitude and in maintaining optimum health. She says everyone can look and feel fantastic no matter what their age, and that's sunshine, air, water, diet, exercise, and rest are the 6 best doctors one can have. So without further ado, I would love to present to you Jane Durst-Pulkys, and she will be talking about the magic behind PSE testing and how to keep your patients coming back for more. All right, Jane, I'm going to pass it over to you, and you can take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Angela. It's a wonderful pleasure of mine to be able to do this presentation for you tonight. I wanted to do this webinar because I found an incredible way of introducing PSE testing to your clients and to your patients, and I've been able to get it to the point where it's perfect and people can completely understand everything that we're talking about in PSE testing. One of the things I just wanted to say first is the very first time I was introduced to PSE testing, I was so excited that I was finally able to actually work and eliminate the blocks that had plagued me for my entire lifetime. And I had several of them, and I also had several physical conditions that no matter what I did, it never worked for me. After finalizing the protocol, which took me approximately 2 years, I came out of there feeling, and still have, and I've been doing this for 9 years now, I have never felt better physically, never felt better emotionally. Nothing bothers me, and if it does bother me, I'm able to just go inside my body, and I know exactly what to do with these traumas or these things that pop up that I used to not be able to deal with. Now, having said that, when I had the testing done the first time, I didn't quite understand the science behind it. It was a little bit overwhelming to me, and I wondered how would I be able to take this testing to patients and to clients that could understand the language, and this is what I have devised. So one of the things that I want to talk about is that when the clients or patients come into your office, you do your initial intake form. You figure out what the reason is that they're coming to see you for. Now, maybe this is the first time or they're coming, over and over again. It doesn't matter. So I explained to them after I've done my initial intake form, I asked them several questions. And one of the most valid questions that I can ask them is, how do you feel every day from 1 to 10? And the reason I ask that question is once I put them on the remedies and they come back 6 months later, then we can compare the number from, say, October to next February. So you can see the difference in how that person. The second question I ask them is, what level of stress is in your body from 1 to 10? And they will give you a number. How do you sleep? And more importantly, when you are stressed, where does it go in your body? So this kind of helps you understand, the physiological things that are going on. Maybe they're constipated, maybe they're getting headaches, maybe they have tightness in their chest. So then I just draw a picture that you're seeing in front of you right now. I show that the body has to be taken care of in 2 ways, one physically and one emotionally. Now we know that unless we take care of the emotional health, you can give them all the vitamins, all the supplements in the world, but they're not going to work unless we take care of emotional health. And I believe that there are primarily 4 causes of disease: diet, chemicals, electromagnetic radiation, and emotional stress. Nobody ever talks about this emotional stress, and that's what the PSE testing is going to do. I have for you, in front of you, several pictures. What I'd like you to do right now is to draw these pictures, each one of these shapes on a piece of paper. So go ahead and do that. use the entire piece of paper, spread them out. Once you've drawn those pictures, so you have a square, you have a rectangle, you have a dot, you have a circle, you have a sort of like a blob, and you have this triangle. Then what I'd like you to do is turn each one of those shapes into something. So maybe it's a wagon, maybe it's an airplane, maybe it's a flower. So for each one, don't tie them together. You make one separate picture for each shape. Once you've done that, then I'd like you to place 1 to 3 words besides each one of these shapes. So for instance, if you decided to turn it into a child's building block, the words that you could use here are playful, fun, colorful. And if it's something that's not so positive, use words to describe it. So try to get 1 to 3 words per shape. The way I'm able to introduce these shapes to the client is I explain to them that part of this whole analysis of what we're doing here today is we want to understand certain aspects of yourself. By you doing this exercise, we're going to be able to see how you actually feel about yourself. And everybody's very compliant to do this. They love to do it. They're a little bit mystified by it. They really don't understand it. But it's a fantastic exercise for everybody to do. If you're not able to create something out of one of those shapes, that's okay. If you're only able to do 2 or 3 of them, that's okay. If you only get 1 word per shape, that's okay as well. Okay. So you would take that piece of paper back from your patient or your client, and you would explain to them that the square in the top left-hand corner, it represents your overall perception of life. So take a look at the words you've written. It's not the picture that's important here. What's important is the words you choose to describe the shape. The rectangle represents your home life. Now, you're trying to kind of get into the psyche of these people. And if that picture of the home life represents something not necessarily so positive, then you have the opportunity to explore that home life with your patients. And by doing this exercise, they become a little bit more open to you the further you go with these pictures. The oval, this represents your religion, your philosophy, and your spirituality. The one on the right-hand corner, this represents your creativity and your sexuality. Coming back up to the top of the right-hand side, the triangle. This represents how other people see you. And the most important shape on this whole page is the dot in the middle. You see, the dot represents how you see yourself. Ultimately, I believe that if a person's sick on a physical level or an emotional level, it has a lot to do with how they feel about themselves. So the most important shape here is the dot, because it really shows you how you feel about yourself. Now, if it's a dark hole, or if it's a target, or if it's the end of a cigarette butt, they might write words like they're burning up, there is a black hole, it's an abyss, it's something, it's a teardrop. Then this gives you an opportunity to talk to that person to really find out how they're feeling about themselves. Once you've completed this exercise, as you all have done now, it's kind of a little bit overwhelming in that it's like, wow, this really shows how I feel about myself. Now, one thing also to note here is go back to when you first started to actually turn these into pictures. The first picture you decided the first shape that you decided to turn into a picture is the easiest of life for you. So that you can keep a copy of that. I date it. Once I put them on the PSE remedies or the Ribbon remedies, 3 months later, I do this again. And you will see a gradual improvement as the person is starting to feel better and better about themselves. But again, most important is the dot, is how you see yourself. So while they're sitting there wondering about all of this, then explain to them that you have 7 energy centers in your body. These energy centers have been storing information from the day that you've been born. Everything you eat